talk a little bit about dealing with demons. It's something that I experienced yesterday, something that I'm very accustomed to, unfortunately. So I just want to offer a word of encouragement for anybody waking up. Heute ist Sonntag. Today is Sunday, everybody. Das Wetter ist sehr schön. Das Wetter ist sehr nett. Die Sonne scheint. It is very hot out here today. I think it's going to be 95 degrees. With all that being said, I know there are a lot of people that are getting ready to go to church this AM. I, for one, I'm not a church goer. Number two, I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in spirituality, spirits, and I do believe in evil, and I do believe that there are demons. All right. And demons live inside of people, as we all know. Demonic spirits take hold of people and they try to interject and interfere with your life. If you're a person that doesn't go around bothering anyone and you're just trying to make a good life for yourself, you just go through life living your life and you seem like a very lighthearted person. It bothers people who have demonic energy. And I'm going to explain what I experienced yesterday. So, yesterday, there was a home buyer seminar. It was called an at home seminar, and specifically is for people that aspire to own homes, people that aspire to purchase one day, and they need some education on how to go about the process. Now, I've already done a home buyer workshop about 2 weeks ago, and I had a lot of staff members that were interested asking me to send them the Zoom link. I partnered with a lender that actually can get down payment assistance for potential home buyers, upwards of $145,000 in home buyer down payment assistance. With that being said, because I am a licensed realtor, it is my business to go into the market of potential home buyers to help them acquire their goals and their dreams and their wishes, right? So I show up to the home buyer seminar, if you will, and I walk in there. And the lady, she was trying to give me some information. And I said, no, I don't really need that. I said, I already have a home. I already have a house or whatever. I am also a substitute teacher with this organization, but I'm a realtor as well. So I go down the hallway, walk into one of the rooms where they're having their presentation. So I just sit there. I don't, make like a scene or anything. I'm just sitting there comfortably, sitting there quietly, listening to what's being said. As the presentation is over, I get up, gather my things. I go out into the hallway because there were other lenders standing in the hallway, right? So there was a blank table there, empty table. I get my book. I get my good. Hi, Ramon Green. How are you? I get my stuff and I sit it out on the table. It's just like some flyers that I had. And then as the people are coming out of the seminar, bros are gaming. What's good, y'all? As I'm coming into they're coming out of the seminar, they pass by my table. So I just asked them to come over to the table. I say, hey, excuse me, you mind if I talk to you for a minute? Can I share some information with you? They say, sure. They walk on over to the table. So, I started explaining to them, hey, I work with, this school system. I substitute teach all around. I travel from school to school, but I'm also a licensed realtor. I would like to share some information with you on how to obtain home buyer assistance. You can get up to $145,000 in down payment assistance. And I tell them what the criteria is. You need a credit score of 640. You need a debt to income ratio of 45% and under. And I start letting them know we just did a presentation about 2 weeks ago before school let out, or I can send you the link if you just provide your email address. They willingly filled out my book. They were very interested in this information, and I think it's very needed, especially with staff members that want to acquire home ownership. I wasn't there for even, I would say, between 5 to 7 minutes. And one of the people from the event that works with the school system walks over and says to me, oh, and then she tells me her name that starts with an M. Okay. It sounds like Melissa. So she says to me that okay, Walmart says that my curbside order is ready, y'all. I got to go, but God loves you. He has a plan. Thank you so much, Brosa Gaming. So anyway, I hope you come back and listen to the story because I want to talk about how quickly and how swiftly demons work. And I'm going to get into that real soon. Y'all, I should be out doing other things trying to make money right now, but I just felt compelled to share this right now in the moment because I didn't want to let the moment go by and I not share this. I was so upset and angered yesterday about what happened. I called my colleague, I called my mama, and I was just so irritated because people really try to stop you from leveraging and being successful. So, anyway, she comes over there, she introduces herself, and she tells me who she is. So, I'm listening to what she's saying, and I tell her I travel around from I voluntarily substitute teach or whatever. But I also tell them, I'm a licensed realtor. So there was a white lady. She came over and she's like, "Oh, are you one of our vendors here at the event?" I said, "Yes, I am," like that, because she was being nosy. So then she was like, "Oh, do you find everything that you need?" I said, "Yes, I do." So then the light skinned lady that sounds like her name was Melissa or whatever, she's like, "Yeah, well, if you're ever interested in becoming a full-time teacher, I'm the hiring blah, blah, blah," which I'm not interested in being a full-time teacher. I'm just being honest. That is not the career path that I chose for myself. Even though I have an English major degree, I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal with the children. So, with all of that being said, I let them know, I'm set up here. This is my information. I'm telling them about the down payment assistance program. So she's like, "I'm going to introduce you to my friend here." So this is the Caucasian lady again, chiming in, stepping in. "Oh, well, I see that you have a book here and they're signing it. What are they signing up for?" I said, "Well, I'm just giving them information on the down payment assistance program." So then she's like, "Well, we have under other vendors here." And I explained to her what this is all about. And she's like, "Well, they have something similar to that. It's right out there. And we've had other realtors that said that they wanted to come set up. And I told them they couldn't. So I'm just going to ask that you don't have them to sign your book." So I closed my book or whatever. And I told her, I said, "Well, I'm still going to walk around and introduce my information to people." So she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that you understood. And I'm not going to kick you out," or something, or "I'm not going to make you leave," or something to that effect, she said, which touched a nerve with me, but I didn't say anything. So I closed my book, got my stuff. I go out to the main area, like the main section where everybody else is. So I'm mixing and mingling in the crowd. I'm mixing, I'm mingling. I saw lenders that I already have met, already knew them. Some faces look familiar. And then I'm still introducing myself to people. As I'm introducing myself to people, I meet another fellow realtor, right? He's 19 years old, just got his license out of high school, and we're with the same firm. So I got excited. So I told him, I said, "Look, if you're a realtor, keep it on the low." I said, "Because they're trying to stop my motion." So I told him, just keep it on the low. We exchanged information. He asked if I had a card. He gave me his card. So as we're moving through, the little area and stuff, I go from table to table. I see some people that I know, and, we talk. And then we find out that there are other realtors at the event. Some of the realtors are vending at the event as well. So I'm trying to understand what is the harm in me presenting the same information that they're presenting, because I actually work within the school system and these people don't. So this is how I knew I was being watched. Okay. Me and the guy that was the 19-year-old, we're talking again. He looked way older than 19. So another realtor walks over to us. So I told him, I said, "You look familiar." Because, once you're in like a common space of networking within the community, especially with real estate and stuff like that, you start to see some of the same people. You memorize faces, you start to recognize names. But I couldn't remember his name because I'm better with faces than I am with names. But I said, "You look familiar. Were you at another event?" He discloses that he too is a realtor and he works with the development of some of the new housing out there. So he brought his son to the event. He was set up as a vendor. Um, there was another realty team. They were set up as a vendor. So I don't see the harm in me passing out my information. All right. So let's fast forward. I'm still talking to people. I'm giving them my information, blah, 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 blah. Finally, there was this lady, and she was leaving the table, and I was introducing myself, talking to her. And she was telling me that she works with children and she wanted to pray. Now, this is how demonic energy happens. She's telling me that she wants to pray for the children because they are so misguided and lost. She was telling me how this kindergartner boy was kissing another kindergartner boy in class. And she said that she told him not to be kissing the other boy. We don't do that. We don't kiss boys. Boys don't kiss boys. So she said, he was like, but the boy was cute. So she tells the boy, regardless if you think he's cute or not, you don't kiss boys. Boys don't kiss. And she was just like, whatever he's exposed to, he probably thinks that this is okay, because you got to think about the cartoons. You got to think about social media and all of the things that are going on right now in today's world with these children. So she wants to get to them while they're young. And although I know she has a strong belief in God and whatever her beliefs are with, that's great. But you have to be careful, because I said, they separated church and school. So she was like, yeah, I don't want to lose my job. So I was telling her, I said, yeah, there are a lot of negative influences on the children. As I am talking, when she started talking about God, this is when the demonic attack started again. This is when the demon walked up to me, walked up to us as we are in the middle of our conversation, and stands by trying to listen to what we're saying, and interrupts the conversation, might I add, and says, "Oh, I'm just gonna steer her away from you real quickly. Yes, you're here for the homebuyer workshop. What part of the process are you in? Are you here for trying to find out how to get qualified? So what's going on?" The same wicked witch that told me she didn't want me to have my book and have people signing my book interrupt the conversation, the Caucasian female. So she claims that she was like the organizer of the event, right? So as we are talking, she interrupts, and the lady that I was talking to, the melanated lady, she was like, yeah, well, I'm just trying to find out about the houses, trying to see where I stand in the process. So this Caucasian demon was like, oh, well, I'm going to just tell you to go over to these tables over here. They can help you with the information that you need. Yeah, and I'm just going to steer her away from you for a minute. So before she departed, I said, ma'am, I said, here, take my information. And I winked at her and I smiled. I said, please reach out to me. And then on top of it, I said, and let me get your name. She gave me her name. So I looked her up, because I have access to all the emails. And I think I found her. I'm going to be reaching out to that woman. But my whole point is this: demonic energy was right there in the building. The demon was attacking. The devil was right there as this lady was talking to me about praying for the children, talking about God. We weren't even talking about homes, about any of that. We were just having a cordial conversation about her experience working in the school system, because I understand as a notion, as a person, as a human being, that you need to get to know your client or your customer. You don't just bombard them with information. I was building a rapport with this lady, and you mean to tell me that a demonic demon wants to interrupt our conversation as this woman is talking to me about God, praying for the children, how she feels, because she's so scared that I'm going to get a potential client and help this person buy a house. This is how the demon attacks. The devil is very much alive and very real. I was so freaking irritated. Then she had the gall, the audacity to look at me and tell me, oh, and let me have a word with you over here for a minute. No, you will not have a word with me for a minute, like I'm a child in school going into the principal's office. I turned around and walked the fuck out of her face, and I left up out of there. I sat in the parking lot and I waited for people to come out, because that event was, it wasn't that many people there like it normally is. I've been to 2 events before, and it was a multitude of people. This event was very thin. There was another lady that walked out of there. I met her in the parking lot, got her information. And, I called my mama, and I was so freaking irritated, y'all, because sometimes no matter how hard you try to do something positive and to help yourself, because you have to help yourself when you are in business for yourself, there's always a hater. There's always a demon. There's always a devil trying to impede upon what you're trying to achieve. So I just want to let y'all know, don't be discouraged, be encouraged, because you can never stop the demonic energy from trying to attack. They're going to, but do a prayer over your life and say words of affirmation over yourself, because that demonic energy will try to attack in any crevice, any crack, any way that you wouldn't even think that the enemy will try to attack. It will try to attack. There are ways and things that I think about that people, I wouldn't even think they would try to do certain things, and they will do it because the enemy attacks when you least expect it in ways that you least expect. So just always say words of affirmation. Speak to whoever. I don't know if you believe in ancestors, the creator, whatever you believe in. I don't care. But you do what you got to do to protect yourself out here, because this world is polluted with nasty individuals with nasty agendas designed to try to make you fall off from your goals. And then let me tell you another thing. So the guy told me that there was another realtor there, and she was also a lender. So in this state, you can be a lender and a realtor. And she had her own team, but she was at one of the tables. So keep in mind, she comes out from behind the table in the middle of the floor to find me. I'm not even paying attention to her. I'm walking one way. Hey, she gets all around me. How are you? I just want to let you know you have the most beautiful hair and da da da. Fake and phony, bitch. That's what that is. Fake and phony bitch, light skinned woman. She was well put together, but she was fake and phony. And I felt the energy from her. And she was trying to be nosy because she wanted to get a feel from me, my vibe, my energy, what I was doing, what I had going on, get my information. After that, when I was talking to that lady, and she was telling me about working with the children, praying for them, and how she was feeling about working with the younger children, that's when the demonic energy came, that demonic monster, that devilish Caucasian female, and was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna steal her from you, and tried to whisk her off to somebody else's table. That's when that happened. So I was being watched, y'all. I was working the room, being my casual self, not being a threat to anyone, because like I said, there were other realtors at that event, but I was the one that was targeted. I was the one that was picked on. She already had made a comment to me before I even got to the, in the mix with the crowd. For what reason? For what reason? I had done no harm to anyone. Y'all, people are evil, people are demonic. And I'm going to say this, a lot of times it's females. It's females, it's females, it's females, which is why you always hear me say, I don't deal with females. I don't really care for being around female energy. It's very wicked, it's very snakish, and it's very demonic energy. And if you are a female listening to this, or if you are a male, be careful about these wicked, evil females out here, because they plot. They will stab you in the back. They will stab you in the front of your chest. They don't care. Um, and just really, really do your research on people that you deal with, that you interact with. Don't trust anybody. Don't trust anybody, y'all. Um, and keep a prayer of protection over you. Say your words of affirmation over your life and over things that you have going on, whether it's in business and finance, over your health, over where you live, whatever you're working on, your goals. Don't really let people in on too much of what you have going on, because they will attack. They will. And, people don't like to see other people succeed. They don't even have to know you. It's just that they don't want you to win. They don't want you to elevate. They don't want you to be successful. And whatever way they can try to stop you, they will try to sabotage. I deal with sabotage so much, y'all. That's why I stick to myself. Even with the school, I think I told y'all about the videos of how I was working with the children, how I was tutoring the children, how the females, all of a sudden, the energy, the vibe switched up. They stopped speaking to me for no freaking reason at all. Female energy, y'all, jealousy, envy, and just negativity. And I'm over it, y'all. I'm just sickened of it all. But I just appreciate you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the comments. And I'm not trying to be negative with the video, but I think the video is necessary because I'm very passionate about stuff like this, because I deal with it so much. I've dealt with it so much. I have a friend in Dallas that goes through this all the time. And sometimes when you're highly elevated, when you're special, when you're rare, when you're different, when you're a diamond that stands out, you don't even have to try that hard. Look at what I look like right now. I didn't even fix myself up, but I bet you there's somebody somewhere, some female that's hating, that's jealous. If I walk into a crowd, they're going to be trying to tear me apart for no reason, haven't said one word to me. That's just how they are. They are like vultures. They're like wolves walking around in sheep's clothing. That's why I don't trust them. I don't trust females as far as I can throw them. And that's not far. Don't trust a female. I know males, yeah, they can be sneaky too, but you can kind of feel their vibe more so than females. Females are very conniving, very vindictive, y'all. And I'm not trying to bash females because you know the name of this channel is called Brown Girls Are Beautiful, but brown girls will do it to you, Caucasians will do it to you. I really haven't had too much issues with other nationalities as much, but it's mostly melanated females, number one. Number two, and then some Caucasian females that will do it to you. You just got to be careful with everybody, honestly. You can't put gender on it. You can't put a specific nationality group on it. But I do know for a fact that our people don't like to stick with each other. Our people sabotage each other the most. I will tell you that. Yeah, so you got to be basically on top of it. Your circle has to be so small that you can count on one hand how many people you got in your circle. I mean, if you just look back in history, some of the people that got assassinated was by the people in their so-called circle. So y'all just don't tell people too much. Don't share too much. Y'all already know what to do. I don't have to tell you. Y'all have heard this before. And I'm telling you, the demon, the devil was right there live and in the building staring at me. Brown Girls Are Beautiful herself and trying to sabotage what I had going on. I'm back. I had to do something. It's all good. Bros are gaming. You remind me, that title reminds me of my nephew. They have a channel and it's called The Bro Squad, and they like to play video games all the time. So I thought you were my nephew at first, but I don't think you are. I don't think you're the nephews. But I will be back live, y'all. We'll be talking about some more stuff because I do want to talk about this war with Iran and Israel. And if you haven't found out, they said that Trump has sent a bomb or he has bombed Iran. So the last thing we need to do right now is to be going into war with another country, especially with how this economy has been affected and impacted. The last thing we need to be doing is worrying about P. Diddy, worrying about Tyler Perry, worrying about Fat Joe and their lawsuits, because that's not going to help us right now if we start to go to war. Y'all, we don't need this. First of all, we have too many immigrants over here. The borders are weak. I just don't think this is a good time for war. But you know, they've already predicted back in 2022. I reported on my channel that if you Google World War III, it's going to say that it started already in 2026. So this is already predicted. This was pre-programmed. And if there's nothing we can do but try to take care of ourselves and protect ourselves the best way we can. I'm going to get out of here, y'all. I am signing out. And as always, continue to walk in your divinity. You all stay blessed. All right, y'all. Until next time.